What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here. I am back after being sick. You could probably still hear it a little bit in my voice, but for the most part, I'm better now. But in today's video, we are going to be giving my predictions in terms of what the set 4 meta might look like. Now, before we get into it, I do want to reiterate, like I have to do with all of these videos, is that this is just meant for fun. This is not my definitive thoughts just yet on all the new leaders and where they stand and all that stuff. Like, this is literally just having some fun, making a prediction to see where I think the meta will stand, and then when after a bunch more testing and, you know, like online play and stuff, we'll come back later and actually test out the meta. We'll actually see what the meta actually is like based off of my experiences with it and go from there. But this is more so just for fun. Where do I see some of these new leaders? Where do the new leaders stand? Where do old leaders kind of sit in the equation? This is this video is meant to be fun, so let's take all this with a grain of salt and just have some fun with it, you know. So let's kind of get into it. Let's start with red. Top Coup, I think, is still like a locals level deck. Set 2 obviously hit Top Coup really hard. There's been a lot of support for Tournament of Power that's come out, but none of it really like hits as good as it did in set 2. I think Top Coup is still functional. You could still run him, playing more on a taller side rather than a wide side like you were able to before, which I think is fine because you got U7 for you know, really wide plays, and I think that's fine. But I think Top Coup is still like decent. I think you could play him at locals with whatever build you see fit, and I think you would still have a fun time at locals playing with it. Then we're gonna go to Daima Goku and Starter Coup. I think I'm going to put Daima Coup at decent and Starter Coup at flex. The only reason I put them in that category here is due to the fact that Daima Goku is basically, I think, just better Starter Coup. Starter Coup does have the defensive utility of activating his leader on your opponent's turn and defending something for 5 on board, which I think has its own set of uses. But I mean, Daima Goku is just Daima Goku. Like, he's basically mini Beerus, being able to give your battle card +5 and minusing your opponent's by 5, which basically gives you a 10,000 power difference in battle. I think with a lot of the minusing support, there is potential, I think, that this Daima Goku could possibly be better than Beerus. But I mean, it's more so the matter of this interacts with battle cards, whereas Beerus is just like minus something 10 just outright. So I think it's situational. So until I get more time with Daima Goku and I kind of see where he's kind of sitting in terms of what he's doing to the meta as opposed to Beerus, I think I can be okay with putting him here in decent. But that's just kind of where I stand with that. U7. I think U7 still has a spot, but I think he's probably decent. He's still getting a lot more support this set. The new 5-drop Frieza works with him, makes the first time you play the 5-drop Frieza, he's a 50k swinger. Is able to do some real damage right out the gate, and he's a sticky body, which is something that U7 desperately does need, is like more sticky bodies that can't be removed as easily. But I mean, you're pretty much playing this guy the same way as you've always been able to play him. There's not really any like variance in terms of how you play this guy. You play U7 cards, they get bigger power, stonks go up. That's really all. That's really all U7 is designed to do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with what he's doing. I only put him behind U7 because Beerus affects this guy pretty decently, so therefore Daima Goku should also affect this guy pretty decently. Just the minusing potential of stuff really does hurt U7 in a mirror match, And then obviously, you know, blue is still blue, and green can just KO his stuff, and yellow just freezes the wide boards down. It just is what it is. So the first top tier deck that I think we're gonna see going into the next set is Jiren. Jiren was already like doing placements in certain regionals, and that's with I don't want to say lackluster support, but in certain matchups, especially against blue, which was, in my opinion, the top color last set. Blue was top dog. You just never got a chance to really play the 4-cost Jiren to really be able to, you know, facilitate his draw on Awakened side, be able to negate some attacks. Now that he's got options like Topo, which plays on your terms against blue, he's got the 6-cost Jiren that cannot be removed off the board whatsoever and has additional burn damage that goes into it, and a bunch of the other support that Jiren kind of has gotten, especially and whatnot. I think Jiren's going to be a top contender. I think Jiren is going to be the top red deck going into set 4. He's just doing so much to help facilitate his own draw. He's, you know, he can't be double striked when you have 30Ks or more on board, which is really substantial. The secret rare, I think, will go really far in Jiren as well, which will help to counteract those troublesome wide boards that some opponents may have. And then the 6-cost Jiren is a great game ender card that's able to stick around and help provide that defense that he desperately needs. So Jiren, I think, is going to be top dog next set. I definitely want to play more Jiren when the set releases, just to kind of get a gauge and confirm that. But I think Jiren's going to be pretty strong. And then we got Beerus. I think Beerus is strong. Again, I mean, he's doing the same. He's doing something similar to what Daima Goku's kind of doing. So the only reason that I say that he is strong as opposed to decent is just due to the fact that this guy, his ability is able to just, his ability itself is just proc whatever, as opposed to strictly affecting your battle cards and your opponent's battle cards. Plus, the front side crit does go a very long way. He didn't really get a whole lot of support going into set 4. He got a new 3-drop that's able to KO all battle cards that are 15,000 or less. So on a turn 3 play where you can't do, on a turn 3 play, he's actually that card's actually really decent. It's a better on curve play than playing the other one that self awakens and plays the 5-cost cheaper, just because you need to pay that extra energy to play the 5-cost Beerus cheaper. So usually that card's better to play on turn 4 rather than turn 3. And so having a 3-cost Beerus that you can play on curve, that's able to KO stuff for is able to KO stuff at 15,000 or less, I think is really good. But outside of that, he really didn't really get a whole lot of support. So he didn't really move up or down the tier all too much, I don't think. And then we got the new UI Goku. I would say the new UI Goku is just strong. He's better than Beerus for the sheer fact that when those sticky bodies that UI Goku desperately needs for offense and defense gets played on board, it's going to be nearly impossible for Beerus to actually like put in the minusing potential to really like get them removed off board. The new 5-cost Frieza, like I said, is like 45,000 on its first turn. You're not removing that with Beerus at any point. That's like removing a Broly. You're committing a lot of pieces to be able to do that. There's a lot of other cards like the 4-cost UI Goku that is a 40k on defense. Like that's going to be hard to remove. Cards like that are going to hurt Beerus a little bit, just because it's going to be that much harder to remove on your turn. So, and then you couple that with the fact that like even if like he's able to like bring power down, UI Goku is still able to proc ability off of battle cards on board to attack and defend, which is just a lot of offensive pressure against Beerus. And it's just not going to go well. The only reason I put UI Goku below Jiren, though, is due to the fact that Jiren is able to facilitate the draw a lot better on his Awakened side than what UI is able to do. UI, when Awakening, doesn't get a draw on Awakening and loses his draw power completely. So it's the way that I've seen with testing of UI Goku so far, at least with me, is that like you want to play as defensively as you can on your leader on the front side, but once you're awakened, you're blitzing. Like you need to play stuff that's going to be able to give you heavy offensive pressure right out the gate. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep up. That hand that you have is going to dwindle really fast. And that's especially apparent in wider strategies. So, I think UI Goku will be good. I think he's definitely one of the standout leaders in set 4, but I don't think he's going to be better than Jiren, just based off of my testing that I've had so far. So, then we're going to get into blue. Goku Black hasn't really gotten any support at all. He's a flex option. Flex options aren't bad. Flex options mean that you can do, like, he's able to do really decently, even potentially be really strong, depending on how you draw. But at the same time, depending on how you draw, like, you're probably more locals level. It's like he's doing the same thing he's always been able to do. He's got a really high ceiling, and when he's able to hit that ceiling, he's able to do really, really well. But if you're not able to get that curve going and see that ceiling, he really just kind of flounders. So Goku Black's still a great option, really fun deck still to play, but it is dependent on RNG and if you're able to pull off the plays you need to pull. Trunks, I think, is decent. He's gotten a decent amount of support last set, and I think with some of the Earthling stuff and Gotenks stuff that has been released, that is released now, I think he has more options to kind of work with. Depending on how you build the deck, I could see him being better than, U7 Goku here. Daima Goku still has the minusing potential to kind of facilitate like getting rid of like some of those cantrips, the Pilafs that are on board. So it kind of hurts Trunks to really play those lower cost 1-drops. That boosts him up and give him extra combo power on board. But I mean, his effect is still great. The support he has gotten, I think, will help keep him, relevant. But I don't think he's better than some of the other blue leaders that have come out. I'm going to do this a while. Where is he? I'm going to do this a while. You guys might be surprised. Cooler's out of his own tier. Daima Vegeta is in the cooler tier, which makes this the Daima Vegeta tier. Whoa, look at that. The reason that I put this here is the Daima Vegeta leader. Cooler finally got like a really good card that wasn't strictly just the meta cooler stuff. I think it's a 4-cost or 3-cost cooler that works off of this guy's ability, which is great. That's why I put him in locals tier. I don't think he's still good enough to the point where you could play him as a flex option and he could do really well in places. But I mean, he's got 4 sets of support, and he finally is now like something that could be runnable or locals and actually be pretty fun to play. So I put him here. Daima Vegeta is now probably the worst leader out of all of them. The reason for this is due to the fact that his leader ability doesn't really do enough. It doesn't do a lot. The fact that you gotta pay 1 energy to bottom deck something at a cost of 1 means you have to play a lot of stuff on board to be able to get those battle cards minus down to 1 to have that effect go off, but still have energy played. His ability is just really, really bad. Even if the additional support is great for the cost minusing aspect of things, paying 1 just to be able to do that and then also commit resources to get a card down to 1 it's too much. It's too much for this Vegeta to really be able to handle. I think if this Daima Vegeta was able to excuse me, maybe if you paid 1 to minus the cost effect by 2 or the cost by 2 or something, it'd be a lot better, and then use your battle cards to bottom deck stuff rather than this guy's ability. But yeah, just like I said, he's not doing enough. I still stand by the fact that the support that we got in blue for the starter deck is still better than what a lot of the support that we got in the red Daima Goku, but it's clear that the Daima Goku leader is just a better leader outside of like if in isolation with just those two. It really does just make sense. All right, then we go into, that's not all of it, is it? No, it's not. We go into Vegeta. I think Vegeta still stands out as the best blue leader. I think he still has a strong chance against. I think he still has a strong chance against Jiren. Just being able to bottom deck those 4-cost Jirens, I think is great. But Jiren got new tools that kind of circumnavigate the bottom decking potential of blue, which I think is that he desperately needed. It just makes sense. But I mean, Vegeta didn't really get like a whole lot of support going in this set. Gohan got the majority of the support, I think, for the most part. So Vegeta is still good. The fact that he's the generic blue leader makes him stand out over the rest. He's able to just put a lot of extra offensive pressure on his Awakened side, and can still play the majority of the stuff in blue to really facilitate what he's trying to do. It's a no-brainer. Like, Vegeta still is just the best deck for blue, and it's no contest. Then we have Gohan. I need more time with Gohan. I think a lot of people do need more time with Gohan, but I'm going to put him in flex. I think what he does is really fun, and it's a very different way to play blue. It's just a matter of figuring out what the deck needs, how the deck needs to be built in order for him to really pop off. I think a lot of the extra cards that were given to him are great. The problem, I think, stems from the fact that a lot of those extra cards cost 5. And in order to get the value out of those cards, you need to use the leader effect, which causes you to discard a card in order to play those cards for cheaper. And I think blue has always been the deck that wants to have cards in hand. So, but sticking at around 7. So, since he doesn't need that requirement in his deck, it's good. But if you're discarding cards out of hand, that's less stuff that you can use on defense. And especially with like Galactic Donuts. Like, Galactic Donuts is a great card that you can just play for 1 off a leader ability. But by discarding a card, excuse me, by discarding a card, you're only netting 0 when you play Galactic Donuts. So so basically the 2 cards out of hand, which would be Galactic Donuts and the one you discard, you're just replacing. I don't think does enough. I think this Gohan probably should have been able to just reduce the cost of extra cards that are Saiyan and Earthling. Like, the restriction itself to play those extra cards is restrictive enough. It needs to be Saiyan and Earthling special trade cards. There's not that many of them. So the discard 1, I think, is a bit. I think they wanted to restrict this guy to make it that it wasn't that good, but I think discarding hurts this guy more than it helps him. Like I said, more time needs to be spent with him to kind of really see where he stands, but and I think time just needs to be done for people to kind of figure out what the best method with this deck is. And he's a fun option. He's a fun deck to play. It's very different, but I just don't know if it's good enough. I think that does it for blue, so let's get into green. Piccolo got some options. I think Piccolo could be a strong flex option going into set 4. I just played with Piccolo quite a bit. Only into UI Goku, though, let me preface that. I played this guy really a lot against UI Goku, and the way that I had him built, like, I was actually pleasantly surprised. Like, he feels a lot better than he did before. He's a bit more fleshed out. He got some extra options to kind of keep him, around, alive, and not like turbo awakened. He got some better ramping options. Or not, maybe not better, but like he got some extra ramping options to kind of help facilitate his ramp, which I think is what he needed, really. I think he just needed a means that would be allow him to kind of ramp up more efficiently while also playing sticky stuff on board that's able to kind of help. The 5-cost Kami is a great secondary option to, like, when you're at 7 energy to go up to 8 while also having an extra open energy. I found that at 7 energy, playing the Kami to get a Days of Training back in hand, and then ramping a card from hand to your energy that's open, and then playing a Days of Training immediately after to boost the first swing by Piccolo up by 40, allows you to get that double swing, which will basically replace that card that you use to ramp in hand anyway. Is a really cool strat. It's not maybe not the most efficient way to ramp, but I mean it does come in handy to facilitate what the Awakened side leader wants to do. The 3-cost Piccolo I haven't really messed around with much, but I mean a Warm Greeting is a great card for Piccolo because it allows, yeah, you're ramping your opponent's cards into their own energy. But I mean, I think in most games, most leaders are charging up to 8 energy anyway, so it's not really like that insane. It's gonna happen regardless. But troublesome cards with a Warm Greeting that need to be removed off board, like the 4-cost Jiren, is a great card for green in general. And it replaces itself in hand, so like you're basically making that move for free. For the most part, like I think it's fine. I think Piccolo is a fine leader at this point. He has the potential to really like outclass a lot of these other leaders. But at the same time, like if you're not able to pull off that really good defensive starting hand, I think he does go down to local tier again, but just kind of is what it is. Gohan, I think, is also a flex option. I think Gohan has potential to, really kind of steal the limelight in a lot of cases and against a lot of decks. He didn't really get a whole lot of support this set. He got some stuff like the Warm Greeting, I think, is going to be run in every green deck. It's a pretty solid card. But I mean, he showed his colors. He came back a little bit after being really good in set 1, and he's back again after being kind of mid the past 2 sets. Last set he was pretty decent. So now I think he's kind of here again too. I don't know where I would place him in the flex tier, but I think I could be okay with him being right here. I think with Goku Black, just being able to have that high ceiling is able to really trounce him. Basically, if he can get the 40k swing off of the 6-cost, Gohan can use a leader, but he'd still have to combo out of hand to protect his stuff. So I think Gohan's fine. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with him. Now Cell got some options in going into set 4. I don't remember where I put Cell last time. I think he was here, but he was towards the lower end. I think Cell on a perfect curve is able to do quite a lot against your opponent, but it really is just kind of dependent on is he able to ramp? How efficiently can he ramp in the beginning? Is he able to Ginger Town really well in the beginning to go from 5 to 6 energy? Is he able to get the Cell Games Arena on board early enough to be able to facilitate what he does? I think Cell is still a pretty decent leader. I think it really depends on matchup, and it really depends on how he's able to build. Cell has definitely relied more on the Earthling package than he has before, and I think that really does help Cell quite a bit. I think Cell's pretty strong for green. I got nothing else to really say about Cell. Droids, though, is still top dog. I think they're still top green deck. They got 1 extra card, maybe 2. They might have gotten 2, but they got a good searcher now in the beginning. That's able to, help them search better. I think Vegeta still is one of the only few decks that is able to really only few blue decks that's really able to get around the android's playbook, and be able to actually win against them more often than not. I forgot about Zamasu in blue. I'll have to go back. I'll go back to that then. And then depending on how Jiren looks against green, Jiren got some really good options. It might be tit for tat. I think you can make an argument between these two being better than the other, and I don't think I would agree or disagree. But I mean, Droids is still doing Droids things. They're still very relevant in the meta for a reason, and I would say that's where they sit. Zamasu, I don't think he changed much either. He got some good stuff. He got some really good support this set. And especially stuff that's going to be able to help, that's going to help him draw a little bit better. But I think he's still going to flounder against stuff like UI, who is able to just really get over his 25k defensive leader skill. Like, unlike UI Goku, Zamasu doesn't have much in the way of protection. So I think that actually, like, hurts this guy for being a 25k leader over UI Goku, or, like, even Jiren. But he got really good options to kind of help facilitate the draw, which I think is the thing that he desperately needed. And he got some Blue just got some pretty good stuff going into set 4 that kind of helps Zamasu. So I think this is where I kind of see where Zamasu's at. Back to green though, we got Broly. Broly I think can still be decent depending on how you play. He got one option in a Turles that can boost him up to 35,000 on play, which I think you can make that work for you. There was some discussion that you can use the new Vegeta field card in Broly and play a low-end Broly deck. And I can see it. Just going to 5 energy, not having to worry about charging. And just using his leader ability to always get the draw off. And then the field card would just replace it. I think it's pretty solid tech. I think you can make that work. It's just Broly, unfortunately, got worse options against Jiren. Jiren just completely destroys Broly in the outright. A Sphere of Destruction just really hurts Broly just as a whole. And then you couple that with the fact that Jiren got more burn damage with the 6-cost Jiren. I think it really doesn't do. It really doesn't help Broly, I don't think. Broly didn't get enough options. He needs a little bit more. He still needs like an identity in terms of like how like he's supposed to be played and built. A lot of his starter deck stuff didn't really help him, and he kind of got like more Saiyan options to kind of facilitate that, but it's still not like anything crazy. Then we got the new green Vegeta. I'm not sure where I would put him. I think I like what he does. He does a lot of really cool. He's got some really cool tech for being a low-end green deck. I think the problem stems from the fact that you are limited in what you can play off of his leader effect. There's not that many 3-cost or less Saiyan cards that I feel really good to play off of this. But the thing I can say about this Vegeta is that he's hyper consistent. He's able to stay within the means of 5 energy or less or more depending on how you play him. Occasionally you go up to 6 to play the double strike Vegeta, go back down to 5, use the leader ability, go back down to 4, play something for free, use the field card to go back up to 5. You're staying at 5 next turn. I think Vegeta's good. I think he's consistent. I just think he needs more variety in his 3-cost Saiyan cards that he can play off of his leader. Something that maybe allows him to, if green got an option, which if you played if you got like a Raccoon option, or like a Pride Troopers option where he could play a 3-cost off leader, that plays something else to give him a bit more of that hyper aggressive play that he already kind of is doing. I think that would help him a great bit. But I don't know if we necessarily want to give green an option like that either. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what he needs, but he's fun to play. He's very different from every green leader, which I really appreciate. And he feels consistent. So I have no qualms with Vegeta, I think. All right, then we go into yellow. Yellow is interesting. So I still think Ginyu is a flex option. I think Ginyu is still able to play wide enough where he can like really just like skyrocket up this list if you can get him to play on curve correctly, or he can just be a locals tier depending on how you draw. Ginyu I don't think got any support in set 4. I don't think Ginyu got any like new cards of relevance. So that actually like kind of prevents him from actually like going any higher on this tier list. But I mean, Ginyu can still play extremely wide, still very volatile in terms of its aggressiveness. Just being able to get like 5 like Ginyu Force cards on board and then paying 3 to discard 2 to then just swing with those 5 cards again, I think is really scary. Is still scary to this day, and it's just a fun deck to play, right? I don't know where I would necessarily, if I would. I think his leader ability is still better than Starter Ku's. I think Ginyu can play wide enough to put all of the leaders below him in a corner. Gohan, I think, is just Gohan is just able to protect himself one turn against this guy. And he's got some like options to kind of really get rid of. Green just got more options to get rid of like yellow cards pretty easily. Like again, once again, a Warm Greeting is a great card, and that's gonna actually like that'll actually like keep their board clear. I don't know. Ginyu, I think, still has the possibility of being up and decent. It can flex to decent tier or down to locals tier, just depending on how you look at him. But I mean, it's still a fun deck, all things considered. Yellow Vegeta, he's very strong. He is still very strong. He got 1 or 2 good options in set 4. He got the new 5 cost that's able to just freeze stuff by paying an energy, which works really well off of the energy restanding that this guy's able to do. I just don't know if it's going to be better than UI, just because UI is able to just copy cards on board. It doesn't matter if they're in rest or not. So I think just the offensive pressure that UI Goku can give Vegeta, I think, is going to keep Vegeta kind of where he's at, and not really put him anywhere better. Jiren's also really good now. Jiren doesn't care if his stuff stays in rest mode, because he now has plays that he now has cards that he can just reuse on play. The 4-cost Jiren doesn't necessarily need to worry about being rested, because, I mean, again, he wants to be unrested to do his effect. The 6-cost Jiren is going to be a lot harder for this guy to remove, so freezing him down is going to be one thing, but he's a sticky body that can't really be removed anyway. So, like, if you let that 6-cost stay on board, it's going to probably hurt you more than anything else. And he can only be removed by battle, so that's the other thing, too. Vegeta is still really strong, though. With all of his new options, with some of his new options, like, it keeps him where he's at. It's just the fact that Red just got one really hyper defensive red option and one hyper offensive option that I think kind of keeps Vegeta from really like being like over the top. Then we have Frieza. Frieza didn't really get any support this set. He got a new field card, and the new field card it's whatever. The leader ability of Frieza, I think, is still very good. Just being able to restand 2 cards just outright to protect your board, I think, is great. This works really well with the Majin Buus and stuff. I mean, he probably got some stuff with like the Majin Buu cards. You could probably use some of the Majin Buu cards in Frieza. I just don't know how viable that would really be. But I mean, Vegeta's able to play a bit wider and a bit more offensive. Broly, I think a lot of the yellow, he might be a little better than Broly, maybe. Yeah, I'd probably put him over Broly, just because yellow's got a lot more 25k options that can swing into Broly. But I mean, this Goku can minus his stuff down with a lot of the minusing potential that Diamond Goku has. Vegeta's able to play semi-wide, which, depending on how you play Frieza, could hurt Frieza. And then, like I said, it's a red deck's just outclass yellow in most cases anyway. So this is where I would put Frieza. Frieza didn't really get a whole lot of support, but he's still a viable leader. He's still generic enough that you can just run him and be fine. Then we get to I forgot Angel Goku. Man, I'm not on top of it with blue today. I'm sorry, guys. Angel Goku. I think Angel Goku actually stands out. I actually did a little bit of testing with Angel Goku, and I was heavily pleased with how like he feels with a lot of the extra support. The 1-cost Videl that's able to play the 2-cost Videl for free, if you can get it sequenced correctly, I think is great. Allows you to retain 10 combo in hand while also being able to play the recursion card that Goku wants to use. Would I put that above? Would I put Angel Ku? I might put Angel Ku above UI, honestly. Yeah, yeah, because I think a lot of the testing I did was against UI Goku. Like this, he's able to play really wide with the new Great Saiyaman 2 into the vanilla 30k Great Saiyaman, which gives a lot of offensive pressure. You still run a lot of the Satan City package to really kind of facilitate the Satan City engine. Still being able to cheat off, cards with the field card is still great. Satan City actually has a new field card option that you can use that actually like doesn't really hurt. That doesn't really like hurt because the Gohan field card is an activate battle that I think you can still activate while it's in rest mode. So you could still protect your Gohans with that field card and still like have it mean something too. Plus the Krillin in the Diamond Vegeta starter deck is a Satan City that's able to consistently minus something by 1 while it's on board. That's cool too. Satan City got a lot of support, and I think that's really going to help Satan City kind of stand out compared to other blue decks. I would put the fact that he's just able to build as wide as he is able to now offensively, I think puts UI Goku just a little bit under, not too much under, but I think if UI Goku was able to get like his pieces on board, I think it could put Satan City Goku on the back foot. But that's where I kind of see it currently. We'll see. All right, then finishing yellow. This Buu I think is now a flex option. I put this Buu in a high flex option. The amount of Majin Buu support, Majin support that the set 4 Gotenks got is going to really help this guy out. You now have really good options to play on your offensive curve to really facilitate like playing aggressive while also being disruptive to your opponent. And then you now have your defensive you still can use your defensive options, your cantrips or your blockers and stuff off of the leader effect here to really like keep yourself like alive and going. Yeah, like you're going to be running a lot of this Buu's stuff in this Buu. And with that said, I think I would actually put Majin Buu up here in top tier as well. This Majin Buu is crazy. I played this guy and Baby a lot, and what this Buu is able to do is just insane. On a perfect curve, with the appropriate board setup prior, being able to just swing 5 to 6 times while also potentially disrupting your opponent's hand by having them discard 2 on certain turns goes a long way. The fact that he's able to potentially swing twice on KOing your own stuff, as opposed to letting your opponent KO it, gives this guy a lot of viable freedom in terms of what you play. He can restand himself after KOing your own stuff or reset an energy, which gives you more chances to play stuff that you want to play as well, which I think is pretty cool. You got flexibility in this leader, which is awesome. They learned what they took a lesson from the Piccolo, and they made it so you couldn't draw twice by resetting this, which I think is good for how wide this guy is able to play. You don't want to give this guy an extra swing with a free draw, which makes sense. But I think this guy stands out as the best yellow leader, hands down. Just the amount of support that they gave this Gotenks to do the things that he can do, I think is insane. Like Gotenks I think is on an even playing field with UI Goku, and the only reason I put him up here is due to the fact that he's able, similar to how Vegeta is able to be the only counter that he's able to be the only counter that's able to go up against in his archetype, able to go up against androids. Gotenks is the only yellow leader that can really stand out against UI Goku and actually be able to come out on top. That's my mindset with how we played, and that's from testing a lot of Gotenks into UI Goku. This guy's just really good. I don't think he's going to be enough into Jiren. I haven't done enough testing with Gotenks into Jiren. I think Jiren is in a really good spot now where I can see him still being on top of every yellow leader. But I do want to do some more testing and see how it works into this. I actually want to do a lot more testing with like a lot of these top tier options and how they play into each other to really get an idea of like where all these top tier options are going to actually like sit, you know? And then that was all yellow. Now we go into black. Bardock, I think, is still going to be a really strong leader. I think Bardock being able to play as consistently as he does without getting any extra support. The only support I've seen him get, I think, is the new 2-cost baby card, the new 2-cost extra card, that is able to, that's able to go 25,000, and then I think you bounce a card back to hand if it's 3-cost and you combo. And I guess the new Trunks, too, works with him, too. Just the new SR Trunks being able to keep battle cards on board will help Bardock out quite a bit. But he didn't really get a whole lot of support, so he didn't really, like, change where he kind of stands in the format. I think he's going to be around kind of where he's always been. And kind of go from there. Super Saiyan 4 Goku got a lot of really good support this set. However, I don't know if it's going to be enough to handle to go up against a lot of what came out this set. He got the new Pan, which is basically Margarita in black. He got a new double striker option that's not the Bardock, that can play the marker, that can be a double striker when using it with the marker effect. Again, the SR Trunks that works with Bardock also works really well in this deck too. I think there's a lot of cards in Super Saiyan 4 that I think there's a lot of cards that support Super Saiyan 4 in a way that doesn't support this Bardock, and therefore it makes this guy a bit more consistent than Bardock in that regard. I don't know where I would put him in the upper tiers here. I would say just because like UI Goku has cards that like cannot be removed on board and they're too high of cost, and like I think keeps him a bit below UI Goku. Satan City is just able to play extremely wide now, with a lot of the support that it got, so that might hurt UI Goku just a little bit. But being able to just consistently have draws and have stuff to protect your board that allow you to get those draws with the secret rare, I think is going to help this guy stand out a bit more than the Bardock. And then finally we got Baby. Baby is going to be also top tier as well. Baby is just doing so much as well. Being able to just use rest mode cards in a combo is insanely nasty. It allows you to play semi-wide while also being able to play tall by comboing stuff, and then you're getting crazy effects off of the cards that you're comboing with. Like the fact that the SR Baby is able to draw when you combo something on board, replaces the SR Baby on board. You got the 2-cost Brainwash Trunks that's able to swing for 20 and get 2 10k combo cards back in hand when you combo with him. You got the Bola that's able to generate you a marker when you use her. You got the Gohan that's able to let you use extra cards for free, which can come in handy in places. The Rildo package is insane in this format. If you're able to get Rildo 2, 3, and 4, and play them in sequence and have them work for each other when you need them to work for each other, you can get a lot of swings off while swinging really high, which is really crazy. It is insane. Like, you use the SR Baby to play the 2-cost Rildo. You swing with the 2-cost Rildo. Then you swing with lead. Combo the 3-cost Rildo or the 2-cost Rildo to play the 3-cost Rildo for free. Then you swing with the 3-cost Rildo. Then you swing with the SR Baby. Then combo with the 3-cost Rildo to play the 4-cost Rildo. And then if you want to, you can either just let it rest and let the blocker 4-cost Rildo do his thing on defense, or you can swing with him for a 30k swing. Like that's a lot of offensive pressure. It's insane. Baby's really cool. I've been doing a lot of testing between these two. Now, in terms of which one of these two is better, it's really hard to say. If Gotenks is able to keep Baby's hand down, while also being able to play wide like he kind of does, I can see the argument of him being better than Baby. But Baby is applying so much offensive pressure just for the sheer amount of combo power that he has. I can also see the argument that he would outplay Buu as well. Like, it's just... You could make the argument for either of these two being better than the other, and I wouldn't argue with you right now. But, I mean, I've been playing consistently with these two more than any other leader, and they feel really good into a lot of the matchups, a lot of the matchups, honestly. Like this feels really good. And honestly, to wrap this whole entire video up, it actually feels really good that we have a top tier option in every single color. It really feels good that we can say that. The fact that we have a single leader for every single color that feels like it could be the best deck, I think is great. I think that shows that the level of balance this game does have is like good. The meta is strong in that regard. And anybody that plays like those decks can like go to the top and actually be able to play like competitively and be able to compete. I think that's good. I think that's honestly really good for the meta. But that's my list. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you guys have been testing and what you guys like. Again, don't take this list very seriously. A lot of these leaders I want to test in a more competitive environment, and I want to see how the meta is actually going to shape before I actually say if this is actually how it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a one-to-one of this. Like, I have a feeling that, you know, some of these decks could actually stand out. Like, Gohan could be really surprising, and he could shoot up to strong tier for all we know. Even though I built Piccolo the way that I did, maybe someone finds a better way, and he's actually in decent tier, you know? For all we know, Cooler could come out the gate and he'd be in the strong tier. We'll see. We'll see. Let's not just take all this with a grain of salt. This was just meant to be fun. And just kind of talk about my thoughts on some of the decks that I've been testing and kind of go from there. But let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you guys all in the next video. Feel free to subscribe for more Fusion World content. And as always, your support has been greatly appreciated. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.